What hacks do you use to sleep during hot weather? As an Australian, I'm basically an expert on this. Air conditioning is the obvious thing, but that doesn't really count as a hack. What I do is sleep with as little covering as possible. Obviously, don't sleep naked without a blanket on, but just a pair of underwear with a thin blanket, or even just a spare bedsheet. Another thing is sticking one foot out of the blanket. I often find that the hardest part of my body to keep cool is my legs, and sticking one foot out helps with that for some reason. No, I don't know why. Hopefully this helps. Depending on how desperate you get. I've used the ice pack on the neck, laying on the tile floor with a blanket down. Also gotta become a master of the air. Know how to pull the most out of your window. If it's stagnant, you don't understand thermodynamics enough, or you just lack dedication. Can also build an impromptu swamp cooler out of a fan, copper coil, and cooler. But that's a make of desperation and guarantee you won't get laid. One look at your cooler AC and it's over, buddy. Hope this helps. Windows open at night. Shut them as soon as, if not before, the outside temp reaches the inside temp. Keep windows and blinds closed during the day, especially ones that get direct light. In the summer, with the wind coming from the SW, I open the window on the south side of the house at night and put a window fan in it. Then open the windows on the opposite side of the house. We have a few little battery-powered fans that we can stick in the bedroom windows to help draw hot out if it's too muggy. Frozen water bottles. We put a pack of them in our garage freezer and pull them out each night, wrapped in a dish towel and wedged between thighs, behind neck, under stomach, wherever the heat is sitting. Switch for a new one if it's still too hot after a few hours. Put it back in the morning to refreeze for the next time. We have ceiling fans and leaves all the windows open. But those don't do enough. It's only hot a few nights a year, so AC and other methods don't seem worth it. The black magic fuckery, that is the military poncho liner. It keeps you warm in the cold weather and cool in the hot weather. I have to sleep with a blanket, so this is perfect for me to use when it's hot out. It's ultra breathable, but the silky material keeps it cool against your skin. I have an old house, so our insulation is pretty much non-existent. In the summertime, I use my poncho liner from when I was in the army, and I sleep good no matter how hot our room gets. Portable air conditioners, so my room is colder than the rest of the house. 3 fans, 1 ceiling and 2 oscillating floor fans. All get turned in about an hour before I go to bed, and I keep the door closed, so the room is cold before I go to bed. Depending on what side of the house your windows are on. Thermal curtains to block heat helps during the day. Wear loose-fitting clothing to bed. Putting a fan blowing on your feet will help keep you cool as well. A bit expensive, but I invested in a liquid cooling bed pad, Chillapad Sleep. But there are other companies like 8 Sleep and others. It can cool the bed about 20 degrees Fahrenheit below the ambient temperature. It's been a lifesaver since I sleep hot and my wife sleeps cold, and only my side of the bed has the cooling pad. I just set the temperature that I want it to be at, or schedule for the latest model, and it mostly works. I bought a cooling comforter. Sounds a bit gimmicky, but as someone who sleeps hot, it did really help. I bought one from Rest.com Products Evercool Comforter, and it's kinda expensive as is. But I found a sale, a coupon. There are multiple brands, and I researched the differences and settled on this one because it worked best for my lifestyle, aka I have a dog and it has pet-friendly fabric. We have a portable stand-up AC unit in the bedroom. We vent it out the window, but the thing that holds the vent in place is flush with the window, and white, so the HOA can't say anything about it. It saves on AC in the house since we don't have to freeze the whole house to sleep comfortably. We even use it in the winter to keep the tongue at night around 62 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. I shelled out for one of those mattress toppers that cools or heats each half of the bed. Absolutely life-changing because we don't have AC in our bedroom. My husband also runs hotter than I do, so we can each set a different temperature. It even adjusts itself overnight, so I don't get too cold in the middle of the night. It was expensive, but I can't imagine going back now. Look into investing into a whole house fan. When the sun hits sunset, where it's dark, open a window or two and crank it on. Alternatively, get a cheap in-window fan and do the same. That running to pull in exterior air when it cools off can do a lot to help. Rinse off in a shower before a bed, throw clean the underwear in the freezer, and chill it before putting it on. If you don't have AC, it's critical to figure out how to cool your house down without it. There are usually some windows that will give a breeze or cool things down when opened. Figure those out. At night, I usually have all my windows open and keep them open until it starts to heat up. Get blackout blinds on your windows. They really help prevent heat. I lived in London during a heat wave and had a flat with no AC. My barber there, of Indian origin, recommended that just before bed that I should take a cool shower, lower body temp, and then go from the shower straight into bed without toweling off. It works. The damp bed created a evaporative cooling effect that lasted long enough to fall into REM sleep. Wear a wet shirt to bed. Sink with cold water. Partially wring it out. Get into bed with a fan blowing on you, and you should have enough time to cool down and get to sleep before your shirt dries and you get to warm again. If it doesn't stay wet and keep you cool for long enough, don't wring it out so much and keep it wetter. This costs money. Put a bedjet. It blows room temperature air or hotter for cold weather into your sheets or their own proprietary cloud sheet. Nevertheless, even if the room temperature is warm, the constant moving air provides an evaporating effect that feels cool. I swear by mine, and everyone that I convince to get one swears by theirs too. I don't sleep naked, but especially when it's hot. I sleep shirtless and only in a pair of loose shorts. I haven't worn underwear to sleep in years, and I can't believe I used to, as I always shower right before bed. Boxer briefs feel restrictive since it's form-fitting. Not sleeping with underwear actually makes a big difference, believe it or not. I moved to a cooler climate. Not even kidding. I couldn't take the oppressive heat anymore and up and moved. But when I used to live in a hot climate, I would take a cold shower right before bed. I had a chillo pillow with a refreezable insert, bamboo sheets, cranked my AC down to 6-7F, and had both a ceiling fan and stand fan pointed at me. I do have an air conditioner, which is an absolute necessity living in Florida. However, I don't have a ceiling fan in my bedroom, which is a major disappointment. My air conditioner, however, works rather poorly, so my coping mechanisms are simple: throw off the bed sheets, wear as little as possible, and ... I suppose that's it, isn't it? In my student days, when I didn't have AC, I would get the small freezies, Mr. Freeze, Freeze Pops, etc., the ones that come all attached together, freeze them. Then put on a pair of thin socks and wrap the freezies around my freeze with a big elastic. I found that as long as my feet were cool, the rest of my body felt cool, and I could sleep. Say FCK the planet and my wallet and turn the AC down to 70. Though, while it may not be an immediate solution, I truly made it a life goal to eventually live somewhere with cool nights, high altitude, away from the city, near water, house shaded by trees. Took me some years to make it happen, but it was worth it. Go to thermostat and turn it down a degree or two. Pretty easy. In all seriousness, just need air moving. Bonus if you're wet, because of evaporative cooling. What I did before the days of central air was take a shower, then not totally dry off, then get a fan blasting at myself in bed. Would cool me down long enough to fall asleep. I see from your replies you're in the US, where roughly, if you are in a drier climate, you can get a portable Arctic air cooler. They're small, fit on your nightstand and take up little energy. They won't work too well if you're in a humid environment, but if you're in a dry climate, look them up. They're maybe $50. Sleep on far end of bed away from wife. Have ice water always. Always sleep with a fan on. Don't cheap on anything to do with the bed. You sleep hot. Get a bed that breaths cold. Sleep on your side. Get a pillow cube. Get a mattress cover that's also is cool. Be cool. Duvets are better for this than comforters. I use what I call the leg sing. I leave one leg out of the blankets and cover and uncover it as needed to keep me comfortable. It works for both if it's hot outside or you are hot under the blankets. Admittedly, it doesn't work in the extremes. Also, I find I naturally cover and uncover my leg once I'm asleep. Sleep in a hammock. A silnilon gathered end hammock can be had cheaply. Any airflow underneath you cools really well, as opposed to being insulated by a mattress. Without a pad or blanket underquill underneath you, it gets chilly in a hammock below 70 F to 1C. So at 40 C it makes you less overheated. Last summer I bought one of those cheap small air conditioning units off Amazon, not knowing what it was. It has a piezoelectric part that vaporizes room temperature water combined with a fan that blows it at you. For a small space it's very effective. Repost from my comment below for visibility. Have you noticed when it's cold you can't feel your fingers or toes? Heat leaves the edges of your body, for instance fingertips, toes and nose. A good trick to lower your body temperature is to blast the fans at your feet and it will get you to sleep a lot easier. Works both ways to warm it up too. Grab a water bottle, stick it in the freezer. When it's fully frozen, wrap it in a t-shirt and hug that against your body as you fall asleep. It's particularly effective at cooling you down if you apply it against your inner thighs. Lots of blood flow in, an area with the femoral artery.